Alrighty then. I want to try to start each of these videos out with actually playing something rather than talking for 5 or 10 minutes before you get to hear a single note. So what I just played there was a simple right hand picking pattern that actually has a lot of potential. It's an alternating thumb picking pattern. I'm going to say just a few words about the way the guitar is tuned, so we can get the left hand business dispensed with. The last video showed how to get the guitar in drop D tuning. And what's drop D tuning? Okay, this is a standard tuned guitar, and I'm playing a D chord, and I say it's standard tuned, but except for one string, which is the lowest one here on top. And it's tuned down, and I'll give you the letter names even though you don't have to have a big grasp on that, but it's going from an E down in pitch to a D, so that when you play a D chord you can hit that sixth string and you get the D bass note. So that gives it a really good stable feeling and really opens the guitar up, opens the key of D up for sure. You don't have to avoid that sixth string anymore like you had to in standard tuning. It's a legitimate way to play the guitar, and we're going to do that now because it allows you to get into some more advanced concepts real easily, and like 3-note shapes up and down the neck, 6 of them it turns out, that you can play whole chord scales with those 3 shapes. But today we're talking about the right hand. When I tilt the guitar this way, I think you can see what the right hand's doing a little better. And during this exercise we'll just be playing the standard D chord with a drop D bass. Throughout that, we won't be changing anything on the left hand at all. So that's it for the left hand. Now let's that pattern we opened up with, I'm going to play a little bit of that and then say a few words about what's going on, and we'll look at some tablature. And if that's not a familiar word, hopefully it will be soon. Okay. The fingers involved here. The bottom 3 strings, which it turns out are the highest, it's a little bit of a irony. You use these 3 fingers, your index, your middle, and your ring. I can't wiggle it by itself. So your ring finger goes on the first string, very bottom one. Your middle finger goes on the next one up, which would be the second string, and your index finger goes on the third string. Now, I'm sitting here saying it goes. According to how I'm teaching this, it does, because I'm assigning those 3 bottom strings, the 3 highest strings, to arbitrary fingers. And it's a fairly true convention, but there's just so many ways to do stuff that this is a good solid way to do it. And then the thumb controls the top 3 strings, which is the lowest 3 strings of the guitar. With this pattern, we're doing an alternating bass. Those low strings can be thought of as the bass part. And you're just going back and forth between the 6th and the 4th string, like so. Now that looks simple, maybe a little more awkward when you actually try to do it, especially when you deal with one string sounding and the next string sounding, and kind of cutting the sound off to get a good separated tone on the 2 notes. Don't think too much about all that today. Just try to do as best you can to follow along with me and make your thumb do that, okay? Okay, I'm going to go to the next thing, and you can replay this as many times as you need to. But that would be like phase one of practicing. That, go ahead and rest your fingers where I told you about, even when you're not actually playing notes, because it kind of stabilizes your hand and gives the thumb support that it needs to and also you're ready to play finger notes that way at any time, so you can't go wrong. Okay, I'm going to add in the finger notes and what they look like without the thumb happening. It's the middle finger and the index finger going like this, and I'm going to get closer still. Now you see on the tablature how you see and those numbers on the tablature, they're fret numbers, and they don't change. So let's put it together with the thumb. Now, that's going to be a little tricky, probably. If it's not, count yourself lucky and you're on your way. But it's a little bit like the patting your head and rubbing your stomach kind of coordination, where you have to think two things simultaneously. And it will become second nature, but this is your inroad. Now, I'm not using the highest string this time. I'm simplifying it so you don't have a lot to keep track of. So just playing a simple D chord there, 6, 4, 6, 4, 6, 4. Do it as slow as you need to. I'll slow it down here. 6, 4, 6, 4, 6, 4, 6, 4. And look at the tablature. See if you can see a relationship between what my hand's doing and what's happening with the tablature. Because once you see that and commit it to your head, as it were, you'll have one less step, which is, like looking at the tablature, interpreting it, and then moving it down to the guitar. You kind of want to have it be one thing. So try to memorize what you're trying to do, more or less, to where you can do it without looking at the tablature. That's mainly just to give you a visual to rely on until your muscle memory kicks in with that pattern and you are able to hear it. So. Just a quick preview of coming attractions to keep you inspired, one would hope. If you change the chord, in this tuning especially, it's still relevant. So as you can see, once you master that right hand pattern, you're kind of on your way to being able to play a lot of stuff. And when we start talking about those 3-note patterns up the neck, and I gave you a little taste there. I think I used 2 shapes, 2 out of the 3 major shapes, and there's chords all over the neck using that system. You're not tied to playing the G chord or the D chord. You got, in most cases, 3 choices, and they all sound uniquely different, and it's music. And you can become an interactive listener. I made that term up myself, where you hear the music coming out of your guitar as a listener, and you're like, and then you're able to act upon that to make it go where you want to go. I mean, that sounds obvious, but it's a pretty amazing process, and actually a lot of the subtlety and nuance of learning to play has to do with those kind of transactions. So I hope you got something out of that. Good luck practicing that pattern. If you need more help with the tablature stuff, make a note in the comments. If you need more help with the tuning stuff, leave a note in the comments. And next time we'll add the first string to a pattern, so we're playing 3 finger notes as well as that alternating bass. And then there's, of course, other thumb patterns that aren't alternating bass, like so. A lot of good stuff to come, a lot of really versatile and significant stuff. So have a good one, and I'll see you next time. Good spending this time with you.